All right, welcome back. So, in the last set of videos regarding examples on z-scores and how we can use them, I made one small mistake in that I thought that I covered everything. Totally spaced. There is still one more tool that we have. Now it's no different. It's no different as far as process goes from what we were doing before. Really, it's just the end bit where we're going to be using this tool just slightly differently than we're used to. So in the past videos, I was showing you examples of probabilities and getting the original score back from a z-score, that kind of thing. In this case, we're going to be working backwards from the probability or the percentile back into the original units. Okay, so we'll start off with the percentile mark, which you can kind of already see that we've got here, and then go into the z-score, and then go back to the regular, the original units. Okay, so process totally the same. We're just using a slightly different sort of order of things. So let's just get into it, and it should make some sense here in just a second. So an animal conservation center in Zululand, South Africa, is monitoring African wild dogs or painted wolves in an attempt to bring them out of endangerment. If a painted wolf's weight falls within the bottom 25%, okay, or the 25th percentile, they'll bring the dog into their care or into their center for care. Okay, so assume that the weight, the population weight, is roughly symmetric. There should be a distribution. The population distribution of weight, I should say, is roughly symmetric with a mean of 49 pounds and a standard deviation of 3.9 pounds. Okay, and what we want to do is we want to find that cutoff point for the 25th percentile. Okay, so that's that. I'm going to go to a new page here, and first, we haven't really done this order of things, but it shouldn't be too difficult if you feel like you've got a good handle on it. If you don't, that's totally fine. That's totally fine. So let's get into it. The first thing we want to do, let's write down what we know. So mu here is, what did I say? 49 pounds. Yeah. Whoops. 49 pounds. Okay, and then standard deviation, the population standard deviation is, I think it was 3.9 pounds. Yeah. Very cool. Very cool. Okay. The first thing we want to do is draw the distribution and the area that we're going to be caring about. Okay. Now in this case, we don't really need to be. Let me do it in this color. We don't need to be totally accurate. We do, however, want to make sure that we get the direction correct. Let me redraw that too. So something like that, right? Cool. I'm not an artist, obviously. Okay, and then let's say that, whatever, the mean here is 49. We're going to be putting things into the Z world here. But effectively what we want to do is we just want to figure out where the 25th percentile is. So it's probably maybe right about here, right? So we'll just shade that in, because we want to make sure that when we're using the tool, the Z distribution tool, that we get the directionality correct. Okay, cool. So that's all set. That's all good. We know our population. We know our standard deviation. And now all we really need to do is figure out what Z-score marks off the 25th percentile and then turn that back into a raw score. Okay. So the way that we do that, and actually before I get into it, let's just say that this all the way up here marks off, this is 25%. Get out of here. 25% of the data, right? Okay, so that already should give us some idea of what we should do. So we'll go to our tool here, the old calculator, and now what we've been doing is we've been filling in some z value into the blue box there, right? But what we actually want to do now, we can put in a probability or an area underneath the curve into the red box, right? So it actually works both ways. So all we want to do, we want to figure out what the 25th percentile is, or the 25% mark. Okay, so it's going to look something like this. So 25% of the curve, right, we just put in 0.25 and check it out. So it does everything that we've been used to seeing, right? So it shades in the area. It marks off the blue kind of cutoff point that says, okay, right up until here is the 25th percentile. And then it spits out a z-score for us. So in this case, it's negative 0.67. Okay, so that's all right. So what this is saying here is that the z-score, the cutoff point for the 25th percentile, that cutoff point is a z-score of negative 0.67. Okay, so we've got that value. We've got that value. So I'll come back here and I'll write it. So from, I'll scroll down here. From, I'm gonna call it the z tool. The z-score for the 25th percentile mark, right? For the 25%, we'll say cutoff equals, what did I say? Negative 6.7. Negative 0.67. All right. So now we've got that cutoff point. All we need to do is sort of work around the z formula there to get our raw score. Okay. So let's recall the formula. Z equals, and then our value minus the, I guess we're working with population, divided by standard deviation, just like so. All good, all cool. And we already know that we can maneuver this around to look something like this, where we could say x equals, and actually I'll do it in a different color just so we can see. So many colors. X equals, okay, and then it's going to be mu plus z times standard deviation. So let me just make sure I got that right. Yeah, okay, cool. So now we know everything, right? We know everything. We have everything we need, okay? So we can then come down here and say x. So our raw score, our raw weight, we'll say, our raw weight equals, okay, we know mu, so that's 49, plus, we now know our z-score. We now know our z-score, okay? And that is negative 0.67. Easy enough. And then we know our sigma, our standard deviation, is 3.9. Okay? And then all we need to do is work this out, and then it will give us our cutoff point for the 25th percentile. Okay, so let me get out my handy dandy calculator here. Okay, so this is going to be, let's see, 49 plus negative 6.7 times 3.9. Cool. All right. So that's going to be 46.387, so we'll round that up to 0.39 pounds. Okay. Now, what does this tell us? What does this tell us? Okay. Well, all this tells us is that this 46.39 is this cutoff point right here. Okay. So that says, 25% of the data, in this case, weight, is below this value. Okay. So, and I'll do it in this bright blue here. We'll say any dog under 46.39 pounds will be brought in for care. And that's that, right? So if you're given a percentile, all you need to do is use this tool that we've been using this whole time and put in that percentile mark rather than the z-score, and it will just spit out the z-score, and that's going to be that. So not too bad there. Okay, so with that, this will be on the test. I mean, everything that we've done so far will be on the test. Pretty much the same process. You're just sort of reordering things oftentimes. So no big deal there. But this will be it on the test. So I know that this week had a ton of videos. Of course, a lot of them were just me working through problems. You've also got the homework, quote unquote. It's really more of just a review, a study guide, a review guide. Not going to be graded, right? And I promise you, it's going to be super similar to the test. That's the sort of style that I do. Surprise there. So anyway, that is it for this video. So if you have any questions, let me know and we will work it out. All right, I will see you next time.